Die-off happens, it can happen when any microbe dies. It was actually first identified in the treatment of, I can't remember, but it's like spirochetal type things, but it can happen with bacteria and yeast. It seems to be worse with yeast. Die-off can be much worse with yeast, but it can happen with any kind of microbe that's dying. And the symptoms typically are fatigue and a feeling like that you're getting sick, like with a cold or a flu, and you start to get the feeling, oh, I think I'm coming down with something. And then you can actually even have the symptoms of colds or flus. Swollen glands, headaches. Headache is common. Of course, the fatigue, body aches, muscle aches, all of this. In truth, these are the same sort of symptoms as a detox reaction, really, and it's almost like no way to tell them apart. And really, maybe it's the same thing here. The immune system is just agitated by all the pieces of these microbes. It's reacting to them as they die and break apart. So it typically starts on day 2 and can last 1 to 3 days. We'll say 2 days on average. That's the most classical form of it. But it can start on day 1 after pill 1. It can even take a while to get going. And it can be awful. It can be mild, right? So it can be, it can be bearable as, I just have a headache and I'm tired, but it's no big deal. Or it can be like you cannot bear it.
Yeah.
So we never know who it's going to happen to in exactly what form. So what we try and do is just arm people with some treatments in case it happens. So I have that list of treatments for you in your PowerPoint, but, just briefly, anti-inflammatories and activated charcoal, and also alkalinizing. So like Alka-Seltzer Gold. You could also take regular Alka-Seltzer, which has aspirin. Those things, like that's a classic thing in the Lyme community. There's a lot of die-off there. They call it Herxing or Herxheimer reaction. So I heard Dr. Mona Morstein say the other day that she really just never sees die-off in her SIBO patients, but it's intense for yeast. And that is not my experience. I see it all the time in my SIBO patients. So I just have a different experience than her.